Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about the Rolo sisters who were arrested for vandalizing a Charlie Kirk memorial in front of a courthouse. You know, when people put the signs out and candles and whatever else, right? So first of all, when I look at these people, I see that common sort of rocker look that we see, right? Where people are acting in a way that is senseless. So Charlie Kirk wasn't a holy man. He wasn't a martyr. He was somewhat helpful, but the sum total of his life was bad, right? He espoused racism. He reinforced the right. One of the worst things he did is he convinced people to play the game. And it made it seem like if you're polite when you play the game, then it's magically okay. If someone's polite when they kill someone for no reason, or they rape someone, or they kidnap someone, does that make it okay? No. And so it is with the political paradigm. Those people are best described as leftists. There's a difference between a leftist and a liberal. A liberal has to be distinguished from an idiot, mind you, is someone who is open-minded within reason, uses reason, believes in individual rights, believes in limited government unless there's a logical and morally precise reason to expand government powers. And that's probably never going to happen on this planet. The government will always expand its powers for the wrong reason. Okay. So let's look at Ezekiel 13, and then we'll talk about why leftists are wrong, why conservatives are wrong. Ezekiel 13:3, this is what the Lord says: "Woe to the foolish prophets who follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. Your prophets, Israel, are like jackals among ruins." Like jackals. So as they were behaving the way they were behaving, were they masterfully proving the right wing wrong, or were they stigmatizing the left, behaving like jackals? You see, every other spirit but mine is wrong. That's part of why they changed the sound of my voice, to try to confuse you about what spirit that I'm in. But one key way to tell the difference is principle. If someone in the divine order at this critical time, if they're not, the best they could be is approaching that. So I'm not going to disrespect leftists by being one of them or by being like them. Nor am I going to disrespect these unfortunate conservatives by being like them. To encourage people to be evil by joining them is a form of disrespecting them. It's encouraging them to be self-destructive. And those people, they look like pretty nice females, okay? They look like they're a bit angry because they didn't come out like a 10 out of 10, but they would be a lot more attractive, a lot more feminine, if they didn't try to be lesbians, try to be like boys, try to be, gender neutral, what have you. It's right there in the word, right? Sexy. And of course, erotic desire is inferior to romantic desire. But sexy, right? How you see their gender, right? And sexy are connected, and it absolutely affects birth rates and so on and so forth, and your quality of living. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20, rebellious Israel purged. This chapter is about why the people who are left behind on the planet after my flesh dies, my physical flesh, why they're going to be cut off from heaven, them and their offspring. Let's go to verse 24. When you think of it that way, you see the truth of the matter. If you think of it differently, you think that heaven is magically going to be established on earth, then you're missing the point of the story. That's very key here. Very key. Because we see in Ezekiel, it talks about how he's speaking to them in a riddle, in a parable. Because they had not obeyed my laws, but had rejected my decrees and desecrated my Sabbaths, and their eyes lusted after their parents' idols, like the idols that those leftists worship, and the MAGA idols and the other conservative idols. Conservatism is a false idol and a grouping of false idols. So they're lusting after him. They're desiring to find their life in the world, to be polluted by the world. And their eyes lusted after their parents' idols, which is generational Satanism, right? Generational tradecraft, generational cult thinking, generational cultivation of a rebellious spirit, of a demon. Again, and their eyes lusted after their parents' idols, so I gave them other statutes that were not good, and laws through which they could not live, right? They could not really be alive. They could not really have love and a worthwhile life. The word statute is connected to statue and state, right? Your state of being, the state that you have merged with, right? Your kingdom of this world versus obeying God through me, the gate. I defiled them through their gifts, the sacrifice of every firstborn, that I might fill them with horror, so they would know that I am the Lord. As you look at the world, you see things that are horrifying, including, the English royals trying to pretend that they're, so important. And you look at all these people trying to be polite like them, right? These people in nice restaurants with their suits, and they're allowed to seem more masculine than the poor people, poor whites, poor people of color that they're sabotaging, who they try to group in the left, right? The party of the poor, which is also the party of the tranny movement, and them stigmatizing things, and the government is mostly red, and you see the trap that they've made. These vipers trying to turn them into gender-neutral mice, and they're trying to prey on them. So everyone with sense is horrified by the fact everyone else doesn't have the heart or the maturity to obey God, and that means obeying God through me. Proverbs 16:12. The throne is established in righteousness and justice, right? My kingdom is not this world. I'm not English or from Saudi Arabia or from Somalia. My kingdom is in heaven. It's with God. And the divine verdict is on my lips, on my actions. Proverbs 16:10. And what I'm doing right now is part of my actions. We see Proverbs 24:21. Fear the Lord and the king, my son, and do not join with rebellious officials. And the person who wrote it knew that you don't know what kind of calamities will be brought against you when you cheat the righteous out of their rightful place. Think about it like this, and I'll end this with this here. If you were to rob a corrupt businessman, okay, let's say we were hungry, but you didn't absolutely have to, but it seemed like the thing to do. And of course, people shouldn't be robbing each other unless they have a very good reason. You'd feel a little bad, right? Now, what if you were robbing the most righteous person that ever lived? So what is God telling you? What is the universe telling you? If you were to rob the most righteous person that ever lived, and that ever will live, what is your conscience telling you on behalf of God and of everything in nature and the universe? So what makes you think you should cheat me out of what is the most important thing to me, which is doing God's work in my rightful place? And this profound issue cuts people and their offspring off from the possibility to go to heaven after my flesh dies. Now think carefully, search your soul. Is that not justice?